Hey guys, day 12 of the 100-day video challenge. This is Kim. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you're joining me probably every couple of days or every day. It doesn't really matter. Whatever message you're meant to get or whatever you're meant to watch, you'll be guided to watch anyway. So I'm really, really blessed and honoured that you've jumped in and said hi. So today, day 12, it is the weekend for us here. So a little bit more casual, been running around with kids and all that sort of thing. It's also the first day of the school holidays. So we are in very casual mode. So you probably will see me in casual mode for the next couple of weeks. But that's okay because that's what we like. So something that there's a phrase that popped up into my mind today, and it was really interesting that this phrase popped up because I've been working with people, connecting them to their soul purpose, their soul as a whole, and then playing around with the different kind of minds that we play with. So, we've got our conscious mind, we've got our subconscious mind, but we also have our super consciousness. And that super consciousness is what I kind of call our universal mind. So what the super consciousness does is it allows us to get access to not only our soul memory, if I call it a soul memory, and everything that our soul has been through, but it also helps us to connect to the infinite wisdom of the universe. So anything we need to know, we can pretty much ask our super consciousness to access that, and it just comes through. When we ask the question, it just comes through as a thought or an image, or, if you don't get used to playing around with this concept of receiving information from your super consciousness, the universe does deliver information to you in the form of signs, songs, numbers, all the different ways that the universe can communicate with you. If you've been following me for a little while, I pretty much advocate that you get a message a minute, whether it's a thought, whether it's an image, whether it's an external experience. Everything is a message for you. So that means that we get 1,400 messages a day. So are you listening to them? That's the question. I do. That is pretty much my job, to listen to them and to act on them as soon as I receive them. And I find in my life and in my business, everything goes really well when I listen and act on the information that I get through my super consciousness. When I don't, and my human brain, what I call the conscious brain, some people call it the ego, jumps in, nothing ever works. So I make a joke that I never think. I literally download information into my super consciousness from the infinite universal wisdom that's out there, and it comes through just as a thought, just as a something. But the reason why I know it's not me, it's not my thoughts, and I'll go into this again, is because I could be talking to someone and I will receive information for them, about them, which I have no idea about. And then I will say it and they will confirm to me that, yes, that's true. Now, that happens to me pretty much multiple times on a daily basis. So that's how I know that we have access to this infinite wisdom from the universe, is that I could be talking to someone and I'll get the thought to ask them about such and such. I had no idea that they even are involved in that, or that they even thought that, especially when there's things that they want to do in the future or anything that is stopping them from moving ahead. I will always just get that information through that super consciousness. But playing around with, again, another voice that we have, which is that voice that's within our heart. Now, our heart is what I call our soul, again, another soul memory. It's like talking to your soul when you talk to your heart. So what you can do, and this is another little exercise that you can do when your ego jumps up, which is your conscious mind, when it comes up and it says to you, you can't do that, or you're hopeless, or you can't do that. What you can then do is you can switch from speaking to your conscious mind, your what I call the human mind or the ego, and then you can just literally ask your heart, what is the truth around this? The heart will pretty much tell you the truth from your soul. And your soul will be able to give you the wisdom that it has, not only from this life or the universal life, but, you know, this whole kind of massive, you know, universal wisdom. We do actually have access to that from here as well. So this is where it was really interesting, because I got the message about heart and soul, and I was like, wow, you know, we hear this phrase about heart and soul, and I didn't really put two and two together until today, that literally your heart is access to your soul. So when you do things from your heart, it is actually doing things that are in alignment with your soul purpose. And your soul will always then support and nurture you wherever you act on what your heart wants to do. The thing is, again, we've been brought up with you should do this and you should do that, or you shouldn't do that, or whatever. And so we don't listen to our heart, we listen to our conscious mind, which again is trying to keep us safe. So if we can listen to the conscious mind, and we do need to listen to it, because if you don't listen to it, it'll get louder and louder and louder. You do need to acknowledge your conscious mind, your ego, whatever you want to call it, and say, yep, I know that you're telling me that I'm hopeless, but let me just go in and speak to the truth and let the truth come up. The way it comes up is that you literally ask yourself, like you can almost like ask your heart, you know, what is the truth about this? And the first thing that comes to mind is the answer. So play around with all these different levels of voices. It's really, really important that you listen to all of them. I do have a lot of people who I work with that have a lot of energy attachments to them, that have a negative voice. And we still need to acknowledge those, because they are reflective of something within us that is going on in there. So we can't just ignore them. If we are having negative thoughts coming up, we need to acknowledge them and then go back into what is the truth. If we keep doing that time and time and time and time again, what you'll find is those negative voices, or the ego voice that comes up, will start to realize that it has no basis or any connection to the truth, and that the heart will always win. So always go into your heart, always go in there and find the truth that's in there, and you'll start to find over time your conscious mind, whatever you want to call it, will start to slow down and even start to go. So, I mean, I've been doing this work now for a couple of years, and I've got to the stage where I don't really have any kind of negative conscious thoughts coming through. I'm literally an open book to receiving whatever I need to do in the next second. Again, if you can imagine that I'm receiving that every second of every day, it's pretty busy in there. So I can't, if someone says to me, can you please remember this? I'm like, no, I can't, sorry. I'm receiving constantly and I need to act on that information. So I can't block my mind with stuff that I need to remember. If I need to remember it, I'll either write it down, or I'll actually get the universe to prompt me if I need to remember it. And it'll have an association, which is how our mind works. It always creates an association around something. So you can always put a prompter in the universe's mind to say, okay, when I need to know that, can you just pop into my mind and tell me? Again, because time is an illusion, so it's not real. So whenever I need to know that thing, it'll pop into my mind, or funnily enough, the universe will line up a person to tell me, which I just love. I just love it. And it's really interesting. I just want to pop in and say this too, is that it's so interesting when you play around with this universal energy and how it all works and how you can use it to your own advantage, how the universe literally lines everything up for you. It lines up the people for you. It lines up the places. It lines up the opportunities. It lines up the messages. It lines up everything. So all we really need to do is just be open to listen and act on the thing that we're being told to do. Again, that conscious mind will jump up and tell you, no, you can't do that, whatever. Keep going back into your soul wisdom, your soul memory, your soul purpose, which is always located in your heart or in your super consciousness. And it'll always tell you the truth when you ask it, what is the truth? So play around with that. I do need to stress that my truth or your truth or anyone else's truth is never the same. So we can't ever say, well, I can't say to you, well, what I know as my truth is the same as your truth, because this is my journey and not your journey. A lot of the times we do align with a lot of people in our lives that have similar journeys. Again, that's just simple law of attraction doing its job and just aligning energy with energy, which is what the universe does. So you'll find you will attract people to you that have similar truths. But if you have a truth that isn't in alignment with who you are, you will actually attract someone to you that has that truth that isn't yours, and that's where they'll trigger you. And when you get the trigger, when you get the physical reaction that something's going on and something's not right, you'll start to feel bad. And that's where you can go into what I call the universal mindset technique, where you can use the technique to find out where you're out of alignment with yourself. Another thing that it's the main reason why I've come in here. I thought I'd put this to another day, but I'm kind of been, I was going to say bullied. To be bullied by the universe to speak about this, because it has come up a lot in my awareness in the last couple of days, around the healing concept. So about healers and how people heal other people. Technically, when I started, I would probably call myself a healer. Because when I would work with someone, then the result would be that they would heal, and that is kind of where I put two and two together. But the messages I've been getting the last couple of days have been around the fact that there is no such thing as healers. Technically, healers only facilitate your own healing. So our bodies are super amazing. Our bodies are super amazing. They actually have superpowers, which we are designed to heal ourselves. So think about when you cut your finger and it just heals itself. You don't will it to heal. It literally does just heal itself. So that is the concept I work with when I'm working with people. Especially, I love working with the physical body when there's ailments with the physical body, because I work along the lines of your body should heal itself by itself, because you are a natural healer. So you don't need a healer to heal you. Your body is a natural healer. So then if your body isn't healing naturally, like the finger, you just say, well, what we need to look at, and what we look at is, and you can say to yourself, is that where inside of me is not allowing this healing to occur? And you can ask yourself that question and receive the answer. Pretty much the main things that stop natural healing from occurring is belief systems, associations that you've created, patterns, just different things, because your brain is amazing and your brain controls everything. So if you have a physical illness or a physical issue, I mean, we've got another element in this as well, is that we also have your path and your chosen path, which will include an illness or a disease if you have one. So that's where working in alignment, not only with your soul purpose around your disease, illness, injury, or whatever it is. So you've got to work with that to find out what's going on, and then also working out what it is that is facilitating the lack of healing. I've done a lot of work with a lot of people around things that are stopping the natural healing process. I am amazed right up until today about not only how easy we can change the healing process around, but also how simple it is once we find out what's causing it. So I want you to know and to own that you are a natural healer. Looking at your soul purpose around any kind of healing that's required, and if there's a block in that, there is definitely something for you to know around that. So having the combination of what you know from that soul healing, along with any kind of learned behaviors or beliefs or anything else, working with those two elements will then help you to get to the place of complete healing. And this is all facilitated within you. You don't need someone to do this for you. You can actually do this yourself. So I do urge you to ask yourself, what is stopping me from my body healing naturally? Pop it below if you've got any thoughts or anything around that. So I've tackled a couple of different concepts today. I'm so sorry. I just don't have any filter around what comes through. The healing thing was the thing that I mainly wanted to talk about, but then, went on to other things at the beginning as well. So any questions, pop them below. But honestly, we are completely natural healers in our own natural ability. I've been told we could live up to 2,000 years in this body. This body can heal naturally by itself. So we need to look at what's going on with that. And also just following that heart. Remember the heart and soul. The heart is access to your soul, which shows you exactly what path you need to take. So following those two things, I really want you to understand how powerful you really are if you do follow those two things. And always remember that it's always within you to create whatever you want in your future reality. It's all up to us. So it's so exciting, and I am just so blessed to be able to do this work. If anyone wants to do this work with me, pop me a message, because it's so much fun to learn about that soul purpose and that soul memory and what's going on. I have not found one soul that has exactly the same journey. It's just fascinating. So pop me a message if you want to know more about yours. Other than that, just know that it's all within you to create whatever reality you want. And it's time to step up for all of us. So until tomorrow, I will see you then.